Okay, if you're in HR, you know this feeling. Your day isn't just busy, it's a constant series of back-to-back emergencies, and you're pretty much the designated first responder. So, in this explainer, we're going to explore how to move from that constant firefighting mode to a place where you can actually flourish. We'll unpack some really practical strategies for your absolute toughest days.
All right, first things first, let's just be real about the daily grind of an HR professional. It's not a marathon, it's more like a non-stop sprint through a minefield of human emotions and organizational crises, right?
I mean, does this day look a little too familiar? You're mediating a conflict before you've even had your first sip of coffee. Next thing you know, you're pulled into an emergency meeting about restructuring. Then a manager calls totally distraught, so there go your lunch plans. You're trying to handle one crisis call while another super high-stakes meeting is waiting for you. And just when you think you might get a second to breathe, a serious complaint hits your inbox, and you know it can't wait. It is just relentless.
And here's the kicker through all of that, through all that chaos, you're the one who's expected to be the calm, steady anchor in everyone else's storm. The emotional weight of that one single expectation, it's just enormous.
So what is the actual cost of being the designated calm person for an entire company? I mean, this isn't just about feeling a little tired at the end of the day. This constant emotional output has a real, measurable, and pretty significant toll.
You know, this metaphor just frames the problem perfectly. Think about it. HR is the pitcher, constantly pouring support and guidance and empathy into every single cup in the company. But what happens when that pitcher runs dry?
Well, the data is kind of staggering. A recent report found that 84% of HR professionals report high or very high levels of stress. That's not just some small fraction. That is the overwhelming majority of the entire profession.
And this has some really serious consequences. Burnout isn't just a personal problem. It's a huge organizational one. Data shows that burned-out employees, and yeah, that includes HR, are 3 times more likely to totally disengage or just straight up leave their jobs.
And here's the final kind of ironic twist. 72% of people say their organizations need to do more for employee well-being. And guess who that work falls on? Yep, HR. The very group that is already stretched to its absolute limit.
So what is the solution here? It's definitely not about magically finding more time or just, trying harder to be less stressed. The key is a practice called centering, and it's all about learning how to respond to the chaos instead of just reacting to it. So let's get super clear about what we mean by centering. It's the intentional practice of bringing your nervous system back into balance, back to a regulated state. And the whole point here is to give you the power to choose your response, to break that automatic stress-fueled reaction cycle. And here's why this is so incredibly powerful from a practical standpoint. Centering literally keeps the thinking part of your brain, your prefrontal cortex, online, so you can make much better decisions, especially under pressure. It creates this tiny but absolutely critical pause between something happening and how you respond. And every time you do it, it's like a little micro recharge, rebuilding the emotional capacity you need to get through the day. Okay, so that's the theory. But how do you actually do it when you're smack in the middle of a crisis? Let's build out a practical toolkit with resets you can use immediately, right there at your desk. We're going to start with the simplest, fastest, most accessible tool in the entire kit, the 3-breath reset. Its power is really in its simplicity. It takes less than 30 seconds, no one even has to know you're doing it, and you can use it absolutely anywhere.
You know what? Let's try this together. Right now, step 1, just take one slow, deliberate breath. That's it. Just notice the feeling of the air coming in and going out. For step 2, on your next breath, I want you to consciously relax your jaw. Let your shoulders drop down away from your ears, just release that tension. And now step 3, on your third and final breath, just say this to yourself in your head. I choose my response. And that's it. You just created a moment of intentional calm for yourself.
These tiny little resets are the building blocks for a much bigger shift. Because the ultimate goal isn't just to survive the emergencies better, it's to build a truly sustainable system where you can actually flourish in your role.
And this brings us to the final and maybe most crucial idea. This whole thing isn't just about managing stress, it's about fundamentally reframing your professional identity. It's about making the journey from firefighter to flourisher.
So here's what that transformation looks like. The firefighter reacts to every single fire, feels personally responsible for other people's emotions, and thinks resilience just means being tough. But the flourisher anticipates patterns.
They hold space for other people's emotions without absorbing all that anxiety themselves. They see resilience as a sustainable system, and they measure success not by how many fires they put out, but by how many fires they prevented from ever starting.
So, as we wrap this up, I want to leave you with this one question. I want you to forget for a minute about all the fires you're probably going to have to fight this week. Instead, think about this. What is one fire you will prevent? Because by shifting your focus from just reacting to actively preventing, you take the first and most important step on that path to flourishing.